The sun blazes over the desolate Australian highway, heat shimmering off the asphalt. The roar of engines cuts through the oppressive stillness as the Knight Rider, a crazed criminal in a stolen high-performance vehicle, barrels recklessly down the road. His maniacal laughter echoes inside the car, his words a taunting declaration of his superiority. Silent and calculating, Max enters the chase with precision. The powerful engine growls as he closes the distance, weaving through the chaos with effortless control. Knight Rider spots Max in his rearview mirror, his bravado faltering for a moment. Panic sets in, and his erratic driving becomes even more dangerous. Max doesn't flinch, his steely gaze locked on his target. The chase reaches a fever pitch as they barrel toward a narrow bridge. In a moment of desperation, Knight Rider loses control, his car smashing into the railing. The vehicle erupts in a fiery explosion, the flames consuming the wreckage. Max brings his interceptor to a halt, watching as the inferno lights up the barren landscape. A harrowing end to the chase, and just the beginning of Max's journey. At their head is Toecutter, the gang's ruthless leader, his piercing eyes scanning the town with predatory intent. Clad in leather and metal, they tear through the streets in formation, an unstoppable wave of chaos. The streets, once quiet, descend into panic. The gang takes over, their reckless energy turning sinister. A lone man, unlucky enough to cross their path, is grabbed and dragged down the main street. Max arrives at the scene, stepping from his interceptor to survey the destruction. His gaze hardens as he takes in the wreckage, a battered, smoking car left abandoned, its twisted metal a grim testament to the gang's violence. The officer finishes loading his wrecked motorcycle into the pickup truck, his movement slow and weary. As he drives away, the barren road stretches ahead, but the tranquility is short-lived. A tire hurtles through the air, shattering his windshield. The truck swerves violently, tipping over and crashing into the dirt with a deafening crunch. Trapped inside the twisted metal, the officer groans, his attempts to free himself futile. Gasoline begins to drip from the ruptured fuel tank, pooling ominously beneath the vehicle. Moments later, the biker gang arrives, their laughter piercing the tense silence. In an instant, the vehicle erupts in flames, the fire consuming both man and machine. Later at the hospital, Max visits his friend. The heavy scent of antiseptic and the silence of the ward weigh on him. He doesn't linger. The sight is enough. As he walks away, his expression hardens, the fire of vengeance beginning to burn within. Max lies restless in bed. He wakes suddenly, drenched in sweat. The next day, Max enters his precinct, his resolve firm as he hands in his resignation. His voice is steady, but cold. He's seen too much, lost too much. The badge, once a symbol of justice, now feels like a chain he can no longer bear. Seeking solace, Max takes time away with his wife, Jessie, and their son. The moments are fleeting but tender, a ride through the countryside, laughter, and stolen glimpses of peace. Yet beneath the surface, an unease lingers, as if the world is holding its breath. One evening, Jessie dozes on the sofa, the quiet of the house a rare comfort. But when she wakes, she feels a pang of alarm. The house is too quiet. Frantically, she searches for her son, her voice echoing as she calls out his name. The shadows seem to close in as her sense of dread grows. Jessie's worst fears come true as she finds the bikers holding her baby. Their mocking laughter and sinister grins send chills down her spine, now a man transformed by grief and rage. He steps into his interceptor, the door slamming shut like a final vow. The engine roars to life, a deafening growl that echoes across the barren landscape. Max sets off, where Toecutter rides ahead, oblivious to the storm closing in. The chase begins with Max bearing down on Toecutter, the interceptor's powerful engine bridging the gap in seconds. Toecutter glances back and sees Max, his expression twisting in fear and fury. He accelerates, his bike screaming as he pushes it to its limit. Max doesn't falter. The highway becomes a battleground, their vehicles tearing through the desolate landscape at blistering speeds. Dust and debris kick up in their wake. Toecutter veers slightly, trying to gain an edge, but Max stays on his tail. Toecutter begins to panic, his usual bravado crumbling. He looks back again, his movements desperate. Suddenly, a semi-truck looms ahead.